Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host of the Five Talents Podcast. There is an outstanding guest and an outstanding female entrepreneur, speaker, tech, tech software engineer, and just an amazing passive investor conversation that we're going to have today. So I wanted to introduce you real quick to Deep Paknikar. Deep, how's it going?
Going great. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Absolutely. I'm super excited and super happy that you're here. I reached out to Deep, I think on social, and was recommended by a few other strong women entrepreneurs in real estate. And Deep has got an amazing story, $5 million in value while working a 9-to-5 tech job. And for those that don't know her, let me give a quick introduction and I'll turn it over to you, Deep. But you've got a I think it's an MS. What's that? Master's in computer science and MBA. Okay,
That's
cool.
right. Masters.
So I didn't want to mess this up. In computer science and an MBA, she's worked for Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, Amazon. She's as a software engineer, and I had a background in tech for 13 years prior. So it was kind of, I'm excited for this conversation for a lot of different levels, but her being a project manager at a tech company, again, like I said, she's an entrepreneur, a speaker, an investor. She's created $5 million in value in real estate while working a full-time. So I'm really excited because she's going to talk to us a little bit today about her experiences and how she's done it. And she's got a lot of really great causes for the ladies in tech in her podcast, Investorina. So we're gonna talk about all this good stuff. But Deep, thank you very much for joining. I'm sincerely appreciative. I'm humbled.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So
All
why
right.
don't you, in your own words, give us an introduction and tell us who you are and what you do, and we'll just get into a great conversation.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Deep Paknikar, and I came here all the way across the seven seas from India. And the fun part about that is, of course, a lot of immigrants come here and then they settle down and they manage to do the American dream, have a house, have a family, and do really well in life. But then I thought that what is the factor that really pushed me to come to this place, to come to US of all the places. So the central theme that came to my mind really was the opportunity and the opportunity that this country provided for immigrants to be able to fulfill their dreams. So I wanted to do that to support myself first, to be in a financially strong position myself, and then turn that over and also help others. So that's what got me started in this whole process. So a little bit of a background. As Abel mentioned, I have done a master's in computer science and an MBA from University of Washington, and I worked in multiple Fortune 500 companies, and mostly in the tech arena. So there, I noticed that there were specific things about women in tech that were so unique to them. One, mainly being that they're always fighting this battle to climb up the corporate ladder, all the while balancing family life. They do make above average incomes, but then they have very little time to do investments. So, what could I do? Number one, myself being a person like that, a techie, and having very little time, and also how I could turn that around and help others. So the one major factor you'll notice about the techies is that they are heavily invested in the stock arena. So a lot of their assets come from stocks, which usually come from their companies. And there's very little risk balancing in terms of investing in other areas such as real estate. So seeing that, I thought I definitely didn't want all my assets to be in stocks. I wanted to make sure that I do balance out the risk. So I thought investing in real estate is a great idea. So how would I do that? That's something that I didn't know to begin with, and especially with a busy job, it was hard to do. So I figured that there is has to be a way. There have to be people who do this. So first, what I did is I started networking around, asking people what is the way to invest in real estate. I mean, most of you would have a primary home, maybe a secondary home, but do you think of that home as an investment? Do you think of going further and doing other investments? With that, I started. Number one is with the networking aspect. All of you may have friends, accountants, and other people that you use in your life, their services. Accountant is a good example, friends and family. You might have a CPA, you might have a doctor. I would just have casual conversations, talk about, oh, what do you guys do for investing? Do you have a financial advisor? Do you do in real estate? And through one of my CPAs, I got the idea of investing in real estate. So he connected me to a person who was doing investing in multiple states. And through him, I got started with my very first single family investment. And that turned out to be great. The returns were about, I think the cash on cash, I made about 14%. And I was very happy with the investment. And that just got me started 10 years ago in investment. Since that time, I've done investment in multiple states, even turned around, done 1031 with some of those. If you know what the 1031 is, it's just
Hmm.
a tax deferred exchange in real estate. And invested in multiple states. And I also did some multifamily investments. So with that, now I have a good portfolio of 5 million plus, and also on my path to financial independence. So I want to turn around and help other women investors as well. So for that education purpose, I'm starting this podcast called Investorina. Well, we'll talk about how women can do investments, especially passive investments in real estate.
That's awesome. Well, Deep, this is an amazing story, and thank you so much for sharing it. What a great introduction already. And let me pull back a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So, first, the women in tech, just like you, networking and discovering or finding out the way to try to keep as much of your hard-earned money as possible through your CPA, and that kind of recommendation of real estate was awesome. And my wife, well, so I told you I was in tech for 10 or 13 years. 10 years was at Rackspace, and a few years afterwards my wife also worked at Rackspace. She was tech, and she, probably like 7 or 8, I can't remember the exact number, but 7 or 8 years, she did very well. And it took her, like you said, it was probably that opposition or the forces that women in tech, probably just like women in many multiple industries, are facing. And that's hard. It's harder to do that. Same with people of color. So, the diversity part of it is difficult one. So I applaud you for your cause. Maybe tell us a couple of things that, you know, eh, I guess you've experienced yourself in the positive side of it. I'm sure you've had some people thank you for, life changing, just, insight or help through the way. And anything memorable that comes to mind already for some people that you've helped through the process?
Yeah, so here's the interesting part. In tech industry, I mean, you will see more than any other industry I find here is that you have people coming from all over the world, like the best, the smartest minds from all over the world
Mm-hmm.
coming into the technology space. So in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the diversity of the people we meet,
Mm-hmm.
It's huge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And together we get the best of people together to create these amazing products that are
Mm-hmm.
out there in the market. I mean, even Zoom for that matter, talking through you to you, you are like long distance away and we can have a beautiful conversation.
Yeah.
It's all the magic of technology. So I really think that I had that opportunity of connecting with people from so many different countries and cultures, and that
Mm-hmm.
created sort of this rich sort of a environment in my mind where I could see that where they come from and also the commonalities. So even though being diverse,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we have some things which are super common, right? Like we have families, we love our kids, we love our families, we love our parents, so many things which are common. And we do want a more secure future for ourselves and for them. So
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing is pretty common. And I think that's an opportunity for us both ways. I mean, for them to be able to invest with us, and also for us to help them create that beautiful financial future, stable future for their
Yeah.
families.
Yeah.
So that's where I thought was a unique opportunity. So I'll talk about maybe, one or two things that I feel made a difference to myself. One is this so unique part about it is the combination of technology
Mm-hmm.
and real estate passive investing. So I did my multifamily investment last year, closed on a property in Texas, Fort Worth area,
All right.
and the entire team was not co-located. One is in California, one is in Texas, I'm in Washington. So
Yeah.
imagine this technology allowed us three managing partners to get together and purchase this investment that's going to make our financial future better, right? So this is a unique opportunity, guys. Today you don't have to be there, you don't have to be on location. You could have one person on location, somebody like Abel, who will help you get some properties on particular locations like Texas, and you could be anywhere in America, or in fact anywhere in the world, and invest with him, right? And this is unique to this day and age. So
Yeah.
I strongly feel that everybody should avail of that opportunity and go invest some
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Even just the start of the conversation is, yeah, this is awesome. So you networked, I would say I'm the same way. Prior to networking with others that had done this, I didn't know we could do this. And I invested in single family. We were having the pre-conversation, me and Deep, and I invested in single family for 10 years, and we bought a bunch of single family houses, just myself and my wife, and didn't know their syndication was even a thing. And discovered it because of our network. Somebody else that I knew that I
Yes.
had worked with for in the past, and he kind of showed me how to do it. And then we went to some different events and training and courses and education, and networked with others, and my eyes were like wide open. Oh, I can invest passively. And that's what I did as well. I invested passively in my first 400 doors, and we took our 401k money, we put it in self-directed IRA that was directed into the deals, and our first few hundred doors in apartment complexes. Tell us about how you got started. Maybe you said your first single family from the CPA. How did you get into your first passive investment? What was it? How did you do it? And maybe we'll just keep going. How many did you do, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so I mean, so far I've done multiple, mostly it's single family, then started to go on to duplexes and fourplexes, and now getting into the multifamily arena.
Mm-hmm.
So I have pretty much done multiple, I think like at this point, 30 plus investments in different places. Like I have some in Ohio, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Washington, bunch of places. I've even turned
Wow.
around some of the properties. Nevada is one of them. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean, all this came through the network. So
Yep.
network is your net worth,
Mm-hmm.
and so true. And I'm here sitting in Seattle and investing all over US. It's all because of the network. So that I would say is was my greatest opportunity in terms of building that network.
Mm-hmm.
And that I feel for the investor, especially the passive investor, is worth a ton of money, which is that they are not investing a lot of their time. They're not investing a huge lot of money. I mean, they do invest money, but the returns are amazing. So what it does ultimately is it gives them this opportunity to invest in a quality asset without putting in a lot of time, because you're
Hmm.
now partnered with somebody who's doing that work for you. So that this is a critical point, especially for techies. As I'm saying, they don't have a lot of time. They have money sitting there to invest, not a lot of time. This is a fantastic way to invest.
Yep, yep. That's awesome. I agree wholeheartedly. So let's talk about that. For the people in tech that what would you say is the norm for the most of the people that or it doesn't have to be your job or anything like that specific, but all the other people that you talk to that aren't doing this, they're invested in like stock and 401k and just alternative assets, right? And
Right.
is that what you see as well? Sorry.
Yep, yeah, I see a lot of that. So you will see mostly, uh, coming directly from the fact that these people are very, very busy and
Mm-hmm.
work in high tech industries with lot of, what would I say? They're creating a lot of value in terms of tech, but on the other side of it, it's definitely, well, beyond 9 to 5. To say the truth, it goes up to 60 to more
Well beyond
hours
nine to
per week.
five.
Well beyond, you would know how that goes. Definitely there's value there, but they don't have a lot of time. So what ends up happening is they go with the default vehicles that have been provided to them by the company. So that looks like 401k, they have some company stocks coming in, that, and then they don't have very much time to even actually rebalance their stocks.
Yeah.
Even as something as simple as that, they
Mm-hmm.
really don't have the time, they don't have the education. And now if you think to get to that point, from where they have just sitting that money sitting there to a point where they know how to rebalance their stock, it's a hard walk for them,
Yeah.
right? There has
Yeah.
to be some kind of a help for them, trusted help, that
Mm-hmm.
too, to be able to make that transition. So what I thought is that number one is they needed really a way to rebalance their portfolio. So
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't be primarily stocks, it should be real estate, maybe some kind of like life insurance coverage, etc. And
Mm-hmm.
also trusted people who could help them with those making those investments right way, because you would have heard this of lot many times. Financial advisors do give some advice, but it doesn't always work for people. So the critical aspect there is that trust with that person. So I feel that real estate, I do find that there are very simple and legit ways to network and find out a trusted partner.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, there is some aspects of your portfolio you should move to real estate, it being such a lucrative and considerably low risk investments if you do it right, and have and partner with those people to do these investments. And that way it's not a lot of use of your time, but at the same time you have now balanced your portfolio, right?
Yep.
And also
Yep.
with the internet, the opportunity to invest in multiple locations, so that gives you another set of risk reduction, if you will.
Yeah. I love it. I understand completely. It was when I was in tech, I was a sales leader. I had about probably my biggest team. We had about 60 people working under me, five or six sales managers, and everyone had 8 to 10 people. I had operations. We had, administration, all the things that, right. In addition to hitting a quota and trying to sell. Uh, I put in money, for my 401k, and I just kind of did that. I also used the stock program with our company. They said, hey, if you put your money in here, you're going to get a discount. For whatever reason, whenever that stock would open for employees to trade, it was never at a high point. It was always at a low point.
Yeah.
And I could never get out at the right window because as an employee, you can't just, if you're in one of those programs, you can't just trade it freely and openly. You're an insider technically, so you have open and closed windows, and whenever they were open, it was always low for me. And that was 10 years of my time. And I was like, I just never figured out a way to do that. And then in the 401k side, I was highly equipped or skilled to help other businesses, Fortune 100, 500 companies, understand our value prop, our technology, what we did, and our service, more importantly, but I was not highly equipped or trained on anything stock related.
Yeah.
So I just chose one, and then I don't even think I ever looked at it. So I agree with everything that you've just said. So
Yeah, I mean, a question for you, like, how did you feel in terms of all of these assets being in stocks, right? Like, what was that thing? You were like, oh, you know what? Suddenly, one fine day, the stocks go down, and you have like this heart attack. Oh
2008.
my God, oh, I just lost the half of my portfolio. Yeah. So, how does that's kind of the thing I'm talking about, where you really
Yeah.
need to diversify enough that you have a
Hmm.
pretty stable, balanced portfolio.
Yep. I actually my CPA was the recommendation for real estate. Also, he goes, "Hey, you're paying like 60K in taxes or something dumb. You need to buy some more real estate." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm with you." But anyways, this is awesome. Hello, hello. You're listening to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review, and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the Five Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So how did you overcome the mindset? What was the mindset that actually, finally for you said, I need to learn more about this, and I do need a network, and I do need to figure this part out for myself?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I think personally, I do believe that it all comes to the mindset, right? I think a lot of the times when investors who are not very educated look at this, they have this tendency to feel, oh my God, it's like $1 million, it's like 500K, it's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm,
How am I
mm-hmm.
going to invest it and still make money, right? So there is this sticker shock, if you will, in some sense, where, oh, now I can buy a stock for maybe $100 to $1,000, but this property cost $1 million. So it's kind of part of it is that sticker shock, and then the other aspect of it is also, oh, I'm not educated, I don't know if I could do this, this is too hard, there are too many factors involved. So those are the two things that really stop people from going further. And of course there is the inevitable, oh, will I lose money? It's
Yeah,
more different for stocks, of course, like everything every kind of investment vehicle has a different profile. That's another factor, right? So the question to then say is that, do I have I educated myself enough that I'm actually able to see these various aspects and then make a decision for myself as to whether this is a right vehicle. There is definitely a flip side where if people have bought their first home or something, they're at least comfortable with the process of real estate investing.
yeah.
But at the same time, making that transition from the first home to
Mm-hmm.
making an investment, it's a little tough for them. So that's where I feel like this education aspect is so critical. And there's a lot of free material available out there through podcasts like yours and a lot of blogs and websites which provide material so you can educate yourself. And once you have that education, you can see that this is actually a pretty good vehicle for investment,
Yeah.
right? Relatively stable, returns are pretty good, um, relatively less investment of time if you want to be a passive investor. So you have a lot of opportunities to choose. Also diversifying within the real estate space. You could do multifamily, you could do storage, you could partner with anybody who specialized to do those kind of investments. So that's great. Plus other factor that completely overlooked, or rather I wouldn't say overlooked, people are not even aware of it, is the tax benefits
Mm, yeah.
that come.
Yes.
Amazing tax benefit. You have depreciation, you can take a break on the interest rates you pay, there are other bunch of capital expenditures you can deduct. They're not aware of that, right? So when you put all of these things together with little pieces of education to know what's going on, and then partner with the right company or the right person, you have gold there, right? You have now stabilized yourself. You have a financial portfolio of real estate investments that's going to help you long in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that the tax benefits are amazing. The mindset that you said, I buy a $300 stock, but it's hard for me to buy a $3 million deal, $30 million deal to invest. What if we lose all our money, right? And it's GameStop stock right now. Today, I don't know.
I
I
saw
forget today is what's. I don't know what the day is, but
Come on,
it's
Elon
the
Musk. You need to do
January the
more for this.
29th. Yeah, it's January 29th, and GameStop stock is going crazy,
Yeah.
as is AMC is going crazy. And, you know, people are like, oh, yeah, it's $300. But man, if that $300 stock drops tomorrow to 10, and you bought, a good significant chunk of that, that's this is the same. I lost all my money.
Yeah.
And the dollar amount is relative, especially if you're putting a significant amount in. We're not talking about one stock. We're talking about what to do with, large amounts of capital to
Yep.
help your retirement for the financial freedom that we're all wanting for the long term, right?
Yeah,
So,
and you've seen this, right, happen in 2008 where people lost, half of their portfolio was gone simply, and they were close to retirement. What do you do at such times? Like they're very, like they have to just go back to work or something.
yep,
So definitely that diversification helps.
yep. And there's risk in real estate. So there are, risky, I guess, risky moves. What I've learned earlier when I was younger, till today, is that it is a risk adjusted return.
Mm.
So the higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower return. And when I was younger, buying those single family houses, I thought I was being very conservative buying a single family house, and I realized, wow, that was actually pretty risky compared to what I'm doing now. And it just doesn't seem that way when you're, buying a $10 million apartment complex, right? It's just the number shock is kind of hard. But what can you share with us on your on the deals that you've done? So 30 passive or maybe passive and active investments, or passive investing.
Yeah, yeah.
What can you share with us that would help a new passive investor? I'm just getting started. I'm trying to figure out my first one. What are some of the things that you look at and analyze to reduce some of your risk or to help you with the diversification?
Right. So as I mentioned, I mean, one of the critical aspects of this is the education part, right? So what that education part necessarily means, and I find this much more easier for real estate than stocks, where I have very little control over what happens. In real estate, you can actually go seeing the underlying factors to a large degree. I mean, of course there is risk everywhere, but to a large degree, what are the factors impacting that real estate growth, right? So for example, people are moving in hordes from California and relocating to multiple other states, Texas being one of the top ones. There's Nevada, they're going to Oregon, Washington, Idaho, bunch of places around, right? There are people migrating from New York, New Jersey to Florida. So when you see this sort of patterns that are going on, you can see that that is going to cause there is going to be a potential demand for real estate in those states where people are migrating to, and that is going to cause the real estate to go up. Right. So there are these fundamental things based on various factors like population growth, income growth, government rules. There are few factors like that. So if you educate yourself regarding those ones, you have some idea of why real estate increases and why is it a good investment,
Got it.
right? So that's one of the factors. The education is one factor. The second factor is partnering with the right people, so critical. We as a civilization, I would say human civilization, have grown because people have specialized. They have taken the entire life to do this one thing super well so they can help others do the same. So Don't, you are a techie. If you're a techie, you've done tech all your life, okay, be in that, you're excellent in that. But for investments, partner with somebody who has done that, who has the experience, whom you can trust, and they will take you much longer because of that experience that they have. So these are two critical aspects, I would say: education and then partnering with the right trusted partner.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree. So, looking at the population growth and demand for housing in a specific area, you can use like your CoStar reports, is which most of your active participants in the deal have. And you can use city-data.com or city-data.com. You can use, the economic development committee in a certain city or market that you're looking in, and they have a bunch of data and can kind of help you, the EDC. And you can literally see trends over time from, the past year, the past 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, and see how things are going in a specific marketplace. And and that will tell you, oh, okay, the demand for housing is going to increase because population is there. And then you can also look at the number of like permits pulled in a certain, area to see, are there new apartment complex being built or new subdivisions being built. And you can kind of gauge that. And so that is awesome. And then every year you have new teenagers that come of age and become their next renters in the area. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's a way to kind of predict your demand and look at supply based on the data as opposed to like an assumption. And so those are some of those different ways. And then it's just like Deep mentioned, is the education. If I know what to look for, I can see that trend. And I agree. I never quite got the business side of the stock part of it. My cousin is amazing at this. I have a cousin Val, and he's like, he can put the things together. Oh, you know what? I saw this new company, and they were building. They were making whatever, this new jacket, and this jacket was styling and trending, and kind of thing. And I saw this other one, and they were charging $60, and this new jacket is coming out 30. And he puts it together so quickly.
Right.
And I just can't, I can't in business. I don't, for whatever reason, I go, I don't know what people want. I'm like a plain Jane guy at the house, and same shirt for 10 years. I don't know. But in real estate, you can take the basic boring data and stats of population growth, average median income, the rents, the comps, and I could see this is going to absolutely work if we buy it right at the right basis. And that's just, a simpleton like me can kind of read those numbers. And I love the fact that you said your team, right? You have to work with the people that like and trust, people that have done what you want to do and have had success in the area, or at least proven success in their respective professions, right? If you, like yourself, you're a tech engineer, an amazing professional in your own right, that has educated, studied, you figured this stuff out, and you can apply a lot of your professional experience and success to having success in this arena, and then hire contractors, or the right professionals on this side. And as long as somebody has that track record one way or the other, you're looking for the best possible team to
Yeah.
put your money with. And if you have a team that has all of it, then now you're looking at, like you said, just everything clicks. And I know where to make, how to have gold, I think you said. So I love it. That's awesome,
Yeah.
Deep.
And also, one aspect to add to that as a tip is, when you're finding these teams,
Hmm.
definitely talk to them. The in person conversation, of course, over online even, is critical, but also start small. Start small. Like, for example, for me, my first investment, maybe 50 grand or something, I started really small. Start small, test the water, see if you're comfortable with this thing, see if you can build that trust relationship. Now the amounts are small, it's not a big risk to you, and build that relationship. Once that relationship is stable, you can do bigger and better investments with them. This is a way to get started without taking a lot of risk.
Yep. All right. I love it. Well, Deep, this has been an amazing conversation. Can you talk before we go? you said you're starting a new podcast. You're on a mission to help some other female women entrepreneurs, people in tech that are trying to learn more about this, et cetera, et cetera. Please tell us about this new platform that you're creating. That would be awesome.
Yep. So, taking my own example and what were the challenges that I encountered doing real estate investment with a full 9 to 5 job, family to take care of, I do find that women are really short on time and they don't really have a lot of energy at the end of the day to go ahead and do a lot of investing, active investing. So, what we want to do here with Invest Arena, my new podcast, is to help women get that education through a simple podcast, right? So they learn about the basics. They learn about not just that. I want to bring in the mindset piece as well. What kind of a mindset do they need to change themselves and have do more of these investments? So bringing a lot of those pieces, educational pieces together. I'll be interviewing a bunch of successful women in this arena, entrepreneurs, investors, even spiritual leaders who can really help women stand strong and go out
Mhm.
there and make a difference. So watch out for that. It's going to be all on investorina.com, and the podcast is coming up pretty soon.
All right, that's awesome. And Deep, if there's anybody that wants to reach out to you, who should be reaching out to you? Who are the right people that you want to get in contact with, and how do they reach you?
So anybody who wants to learn more about passive investing, I'm especially wanting to help women really come into this arena. I see both in tech as well as real estate. I don't see a lot of women actively participating. The last deal I did with three women managing partners, and that was fantastic. Go
It's awesome.
getters, all of them. So I definitely want to bring in more women, both as active and passive investors, into the real estate arena. So if you're interested in number one, of course, learning more about passive investing, active investing, and also networking with other women, that's a set of group who would really benefit from this. And just overall for anybody who wants to learn about
Yeah, that
investing,
sounds interesting to
break
me.
it
I'm
down.
gonna take a little sneak peek of that once you
Yes.
launch. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
so
great.
do contact me, Deep Paknikar at investorina.com. It will be in the credits. And also you can call me at my number. I'll put it in there.
Very good. Well, Deep, thank you so much. This has been a great show. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on? Anything else that we didn't, cover that you wanted me to, or you wanted me to ask? I just didn't get to anything. Last wisdom insights.
Yeah, so I would like to bring up one more thing. So, as part of this helping women get more into investing, I also run a company which helps underprivileged women find opportunities, and this is called Higher Sensibility Company. So, what we do is we sell all natural products, but a lot of it is made by women in Asia and Africa. And what that does is that just provides them an opportunity to make a living. I mean, there's one of the products that I sell on my site. One product sold here can actually make so one woman in Africa can make a living for entire 2 months period if I sell one product here, right?
Wow.
So think about that scale. One product here, 2 months of expenses for her. So that's what it looks like in terms of the imbalances, economical imbalances in the world. So really trying to get that to change in my own little way. And how I want to do that is I have want to educate women to come in to do investments, have more stable financial life for themselves, more financial freedom, and then they turn that around. They turn that around and say, oh, now I'm financially free, I'm financially stable, I can help other women. And they go out there, they buy products, they go do community service, they mentor other women. It turns around. And this is like a beautiful, vicious, upward lifting spiral that we create for the women. And that's what ultimately I want to be able to do. So
Yeah, that's
this is
awesome.
kind of like a helping women on one side be financially independent and then turning that around and helping underprivileged women as well all over the world.
What a great cause. Y'all needs to reach out to Deep and support her in this cause. I think that's tremendous and that's amazing. So thank you very much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And my name is Abel Pacheco. I'm your host for the Five Talents podcast. We really appreciate you listening. I would encourage you, if you want other great guests like Deep on the show, please subscribe to the show, leave us a written review and a rating. That would be amazing. That way we can continue on doing what we're doing. So Deep, thank you so much for today. It was really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents Podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who followed their dreams and achieved massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents Podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked, tell us your favorite guest, give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast.